Good morning, everyone. Hello, welcome to our webinar about the 2024 tax return. My name is Sabina Singh. Some of you may already know me. I am the communication manager of Expat and BAM. And today, together with me in this webinar, we have Mosè Begotti, who is the founder of Expat, and he will be answering your questions in chat. So until we wait one more minute for everyone to join, I will start sharing the slides. And I ask you if you can please write me in chat if you can all hear me well. Okay, there we go. Okay, perfect. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, I can see now that more people are joining. So we're here today as every year we have this webinar about tax returns. Our aim is to make it easier for you to deal with this process. I know that for some of you, it is the first time that you're doing a tax return, and this might be a little bit scary because if this is already complicated in your home country, we can only imagine having to deal with tax returns in a foreign one. So our aim today is to tell you in a simple way what's going to happen, what is the timetable, what documents you need, and then at the end of everything, we will reply to a quick Q&A. So if you have any questions, let me move to the instruction actually. You can write them in chat. Mosè will be answering to you, but you can also ask me to turn on your microphone and camera and we can have a brief conversation. We always propose this option. Nobody ever takes it, but if you want, just know that there is this possibility. This webinar will be recorded so that if you want to watch it again, you can do it. And also for those who weren't able to be here today, they will be then able to watch it again. So let's get started. So we're here today to talk about taxes, let's say, and tax returns. What happens now? Many of you already started asking us in January about tax returns because I suppose like in different countries there are different timetables. But what happens now? It's that on the 30th of June, you will have your first appointment with taxes in Italy because taxes are paid twice per year, on the 30th of June and on the 30th of November. And every year, in order to understand how many taxes you will have to pay, you have to file a tax return. And in Italy, it always concerns the year before. So now we are in 2024, but we're actually paying taxes for 2023. Okay, let's get started. This webinar will be divided into two parts. A first part where I tell you about the documents that are needed, and a second part where I give you all the most relevant information. So let's start now with documents. And I want to start with something that all of you have in common. So this is, let's say, the basics to start filing a tax return. All of you will need to send us the invoices that you cashed in 2023. It's not a coincidence that I'm saying cashed because what's relevant is not the invoices that you issued, is the one you received money for. So we need those invoices regardless of the year of issue. Let's say that for 90% of your invoices, it's easy to understand because you issue them in 2023 and then you cash them in 2023. But I put two examples of, let's say, invoices above year. So for example, if you issued an invoice in December 2022, and until you sent it to your clients, it got paid and everything, it was January 2023, in that case, that invoice counts and you need to send it to us. On the other hand, if you issued an invoice in December 2023, and then it was paid in 2024, it doesn't count, at least not this year. You will have to send it to us for your tax return in 2025. So just remember that a tax return basically, to put it in a simple way, concerns how much you earned in a year. So that's why it's important what you cashed and not what you issued. Then from now on, we will talk about other documents that some of you may have, some may not. So if you have them, please send them to us. Otherwise, there's nothing to do. For example, some of you may have received one or more CUs, which stands for Certificazione Unica, which is the documents that an employer or a client sends to you to state how much you've earned with them throughout a fiscal year. If you've received them, please send them to us. Otherwise, if you haven't, or if you don't know what they are, it means probably that you haven't received them, so there is nothing to do. Then, for those of you who last year paid their taxes, no, sorry, skip the point. For those of you who fill their tax return with another commercialista, so not with expat, we need a copy of that tax return. It is necessary for us to file this year's tax return, and simply we don't have access to it if it's another accountant that did it. So please send it to us. Then, as I was mentioning before, for those who pay their taxes autonomously with F24 modules on their home banking, please send us the payment receipts of these payments. Yeah, something I want to clarify. I just hope that it's clear how I put it here in this sentence, but we need all the payment receipts of all your 2023 taxes. So, for example, if you paid your 2023 taxes late in 2024, we still need those receipts because they concern your tax year 2023. Okay, then let's move to social and pension contributions. So most of you are enrolled by Gestione Separata dell'INPS, and in this case, there's nothing to do. But for those of you who are enrolled in other pension funds, I put some example here, like EMPAV, EMPAL, Sinarcassa, there are so many, I cannot count them. But in that case, we need the receipts of all the payments that you made in 2023 to your pension fund. Also because we don't have access to those, so please send it to us. Then, regarding family, if you have a spouse and or children, it needs to be declared. And by declared, I just mean that we need to know their codice fiscale. Since you have Regime Forfettario, as you may know, there are no deductible expenses. So actually, this is not for deductions. It's simply that you have to declare their codice fiscale. In the next days, I will send you an email where there will be a form and you will be able to give us all this information which I'm talking about right now. So you will be able to write their codice fiscale there. Then, some of you may have other types of income beside Partita IVA. So for example, you could also have an employment job on the side, or you could have a pension, you could have occasional work, you could have an unemployment check, like for example, NASPI, you could have a foreign income. In that case, it needs to be declared. So please send us the CUs, invoices, paychecks, so whatever documents is relevant to the type of other income that you have. If this is your case, that you have another type of income, which is not only forfettario, in this case, you can deduct expenses. So if in 2023 you had, for example, healthcare expenses, vet expenses, public transport, home renovation, mortgage, and so on, these are just the most common ones, but there are more. You can send us the receipts, and in that case, we will be able to deduct these expenses from your second income. As long as properties and rent are concerned, many of you may be renting an apartment here. So in that case, this is possibly the only expense that you can deduct from Regime Forfettario. And in order to do that, the only thing we need is for you to send us your rent contract plus the registration of this contract by Agenzia delle Entrate. Please note that both documents are necessary because just with the contract, we cannot make the deduction. So if you don't know where to get the registration, I would suggest you to ask your landlord because they surely have it. Then, if you, on the other hand, have a property, which could be real estate or land owned in Italy, then please send us the property documents. And if you have, for example, an apartment and rent it out, so you bought a house and you are renting it to someone else, then that rent is considered another income. So in that case, we need, for example, the rent contract that was in force in 2023, or you could even send us the payment receipts. So these are the kind of documents we need. So considering that expats clientele is mostly expats, as the name says, I expect many of you to, let's say, fall in this case. So according to the worldwide taxation principle, if you are an Italian tax resident, you must declare all your assets and properties, even foreign ones, to Italy. This may sound a little bit like Big Brother, but actually the reason behind is to avoid double taxation and to avoid being taxed in two different countries. And in that case, I put some examples of foreign assets that need to be declared, like, for example, financial investments, foreign bank accounts, properties, rents received from abroad, income received from abroad. As you can see, this is basically everything we mentioned before for Italy, but simply outside of Italy. So it's just the same. I put a few examples of what documents we may need if you have any of these cases. So for example, for financial investments, we need to know basically the profits that you made over 2023. For foreign bank accounts, is the annual balance at the end of 22 and at the end of 23. For properties, it's property documents. For rent contracts, it's contracts and or receipts, and for income, it's paychecks, invoices, tax returns, or the equivalent of foreign CUs, basically. Just one thing. So in expat, we all speak English. So if you have documents in English, it's super fine. You can send them to us. If it's other languages, please have them translated in Italian, I would say. Some of us know Spanish and German, but in general, our common language where we can all work together, it's English. So English is good. Other languages, please have the documents translated. Okay, so the part about documents is over. This is basically what we need to file your tax return. As mentioned, we will send you a form and a shared folder where you can upload everything. But now let's move to information. These are the most important things to keep in mind. Okay, the first topic is my least favorite one because it's quite difficult to explain. But basically, as I mentioned before, every year you do a tax return that concerns the year before. So you pay taxes for 2023. However, the law provides that in addition to taxes regarding 2023, you also have to pay an advance for the following year, which is the current one, 2024. The amount of these advance payments is calculated on the assumption that your earnings this year will be the same as last year. Generally, let's say we always advise to pay these advance payments because they are, let's say, provided by law. But there could be reasons why you don't want to pay them or you shouldn't pay them. For example, if in 2024 you're unemployed and your income is going to be zero, it makes sense that you don't pay any advance payments for the year 2024. If you expect to leave Italy, same thing. If for some reason that you don't need to tell us, but you prefer not paying these advance payments, maybe for money reasons or whatever, you can do it. We want to give you this opportunity. Just know that not paying these advances, if they were due, implies a penalty of 10% of the unpaid amount, which will be spread in subsequent years. So in general, obviously, if you have the possibility, we always suggest to pay these advance payments. But if for some reason you cannot, you can do it. Just know this situation. So there is a penalty of 10%, which will be spread throughout the years. Okay, then, as long as paying taxes is concerned, as I mentioned before, there are two appointments on the 30th of June and on the 30th of November. The June part can be paid in one solution or split in up to 6 installments. The November part, however, cannot be split in installments. I put the dates here for you so you can check all the installment dates starting from the 30th of June. It is more or less monthly, more or less, as you can see. In any case, if you choose one solution, everything will be paid on the 30th of June. These are the dates of the installments. If you check the first two dates, you will see that they're very close to one another. So the first one is the 30th of June, the second one, the 16th of July. So my suggestion to you is not to choose two because it doesn't make any sense. They're so close to one another that if you want to split the payment, you should choose from 3 above. Then let's get to another question that we get asked very often is how do I pay taxes? And basically here there is a big difference to make based on whether you have an Italian bank account or not. Having an Italian bank account makes life in Italy much easier. So in any case, my suggestion, it is not mandatory, but my suggestion is to open an Italian bank account because everything is easier for you, for us, and for paying taxes, for basically everything. If you have an Italian bank account, there are two options. You can either pay autonomously with F24 modules, or you can have taxes directly debited to your bank account. In the first case, we will provide you with these F24 modules, and you can go on your home banking and pay autonomously using your home banking. Please choose this option only if you know how to do it, if you know what an F24 is, how to pay it, and so on, because we cannot offer support with your home banking. We not connect with you remotely to go inside your bank and help you out with this. So if you're not familiar with this option, I suggest to choose the second one because it is, let's say, the easiest one. Basically, we will set up automatic debits on your bank account and the taxes amount, which we will tell you before having to pay taxes. Obviously, we will tell you on the 30th of June, this is the amount and so on. It will be withdrawn on the due dates from your bank account or on the due dates if you chose installments. Basically, the only thing that we need in order to do this is to know your IBAN code. Then what happens for those of you who do not have an Italian bank account? Or also if you have a bank like N26, Revolut, or similar. I know that N26 right now has an Italian IBAN, but unfortunately it's not sufficient and they do not support taxes payments. In that case, the only way to pay your taxes is through an intermediary, which in this case, it's us. So in that case, you should transfer the funds for your taxes to our firm, and we will pay taxes on your behalf as a proxy. Please note that in this case, there is a 1% service fee to be added to each F24. Each F24 means every installment. Yeah, I forgot to say that this fee is up until a maximum of 30 euros plus VAT. In any case, as I was saying before, it is highly recommended to have an Italian bank account. If you would like to set it up and you know how to do it, that's great. But if you need some support in doing it, in our network, we have some external colleagues, let's say, that could help you set it up as it's their job. In that case, please let us know. So, yes, this is basically the final information before we move to a Q&A session. What happens now? In the next days, I would say before the end of the week, I will send you an email with a form to fill in. Now I will show you this form so that we can look at it together. And if you have any doubts, we can talk about it. And in this form, you will be able to give us all the relevant information, everything that we saw before. And it will also work for you as a checklist to remind you what documents we need. Afterwards, you will have 3 options to send us documents. In the email, you will see a link to a shared folder where you can upload your documents directly. You can send us your documents via WeTransfer at this email address, which is taxret24@expat.it, or send us simply everything via email, please, in a zipped folder, and everything together would be much better. And just the final information is that answering this email address will be Alessia von Slavik, which is our new colleague in Expat. And then secondarily, all the other members of the Expat team. Keep in mind that taxes will be processed in a chronological order upon receiving the documents. And the results of our calculation will not be given before the 15th of May. So this is why if any of you has an urgency, like the renewal of the residence permit or the mortgage application, please let us know so that we can organize and, with priorities. Okay, now I will stop sharing the slides and show you briefly the form that you will receive. Just give me a moment. Okay, so basically you will receive this form via email in the next few days. When you open it, it looks like this. Here you can change the language, English. Well, this is the front page. Basically, I tell you again how you can send us the documents with the 3 options that I mentioned. Then you start now. And this is the form. There are 23 questions. Some of them are personal information, so it's really not that long. And it's just multiple choice, so it goes fast. Let me show you step by step. So here, well, we need your surname. Here we need your name. Then we need your email address. Then here, we need to know if you have SPID. If you have SPID, life is much easier for you, for us, because basically you can give us access to your cassetto fiscale. And from there, we can get all the documents that we need, even the ones that you don't know, let's say, how to gather. So please let us know if you have it. Then from question number 5 onwards, you will see that this is exactly as the slide that I mentioned before. Basically, is 1 question, 1 slide. Did you do your tax return with Expat in 2023? Yes, no, I did not file a tax return. If you answer yes, here there's the instruction. If your answer is no, please send it to us. So as you can see, with this form, we will receive all the information that's relevant. So even if you forget something, we will know and we will ask you. But then it also works for you as a checklist for your documents. So after you file it, Alessia will send you the PDF of your answer so that you can keep it as a checklist. Then, do you have any invoices concerning tax year 2023? Well, this is a bit of a rhetorical question, because if you have to do a tax return, then all of you have invoices for 2023. In any case, send us all your invoices that you cashed in 2023, regardless of the year of issue. And here again, I put the same example that's in the slide. So, well, if it was paid in January 2023, it counts. If it was paid in January 2024, it doesn't. So, well, the answer will be yes for everyone here. Then let's move on to, do you have any CUs? If your answer is yes, please send them to us. Here is, did you pay your taxes autonomously through F24 modules last year? And here again, I put the clarification that we refer to all your taxes that were due in 2023, even if you paid them later in 2024. For example, no. But if the answer is yes, then send us the modules. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay. Then here, are you enrolled in a pension fund other than IMSS? Let's say yes. So please send us the payment receipts that you made to the pension fund in 2023. And in that case, go to question 10. Otherwise, you can skip it. And please let us know which is your pension fund, for example, EMPAP. Then let's move to the next question. Do you have a rent contract for your main residence? If so, please send us your contract and the registration of this contract by Agenzia delle Entrate. let me remind you one more time that unfortunately only the contract, it is not sufficient. Then if you have a spouse or children, let us know. Yes. Here I try to help you with these questions. I know that there is a lot written, but it's just to give you clearer instructions. So if you answer yes, go to question 13. If your answer is no, you can skip it and go directly to 14. Here you can put your family member's codice fiscale. Here, did you produce in 2023 in Italy any type of income other than Partita IVA? So for example, employment, pension, occasional work, and so on. In that case, let's say yes, please send us the CUs, invoices, paychecks, receipts, or similar. So here again, you see that if your answer is yes, you should go to question 15. If your answer is no, you can skip it and go to 16. So let's go to 15. This is about deductible expenses. And as I mentioned before, it's only relevant if you have another type of income. So if your answer is yes, you can send us the payment receipts for your deductible expenses like healthcare, vet care, public transport, and so on. Then, do you have any properties in Italy, real estate or land? If so, please send us the property documents. And here again, in this case, if your answer is yes, go to the next question. If your answer is no, you can skip it. The next question, as mentioned before, is whether you rent out your properties. So in that case, send us the rent contracts that was in force in 2023. Then, do you have any financial investment, bank account, and or real estate held outside of Italy? Here I put again all the examples that were in the slides. So the possible cases like what you may have, like financial investments, foreign bank accounts, properties, rents, income. And here you can see the kind of documents that we need in case you fall into this situation. So here everything is basically written down for you. So let's say, yes, you have financial investments, please send us the profits that you made over 2023. Now, the question, until here, they covered the documents that we needed. Here, they regard the information that we need from you. So, for example, here, do you wish not to pay your 2024 advance payments? Here, I put exactly the same explanation that's in the slide. If you don't want to pay them, please let us know here. I do not want to pay them, but in general, as mentioned before, it is advised to pay them. Then here you can let us know if you want to split your taxes in installments. And here again, you can find all the dates of all the installments so that you can decide. And please let us know if you want to pay in one solution, everything on the 30th of June. So basically just once, and then you don't have to deal with it anymore. Or if you want to split it up in 6 installments, for example. How do you intend to pay your taxes? This is what we talked about a little bit earlier. So the 3 options, the first 2, if you have an Italian bank account, and the third one, if you don't. So let's just go over it briefly again. The first one is autonomously via F24 modules on your home banking. Please choose this one if you know how to do it. Through direct debit on your bank account, it is the easiest way possible. And then through expat as a proxy if you don't have an Italian bank account and you don't want to do it. If you answer through direct debit on your bank account, then here please let us know your IBAN because it's the only way that we can set this up. Then finally, if you have any comment whatsoever about anything, any answer of yours, any document, you can write it here or also via email, nothing changes. And then when you're done, please click on submit and we will receive, okay, now I haven't filled it all in, but we will receive the answer. And as mentioned before, Alessia will send it back to you so that you have a checklist. Okay, now let's go. Oops, sorry. Let's go briefly back to our slides. Okay, so let's move to a brief Q&A session, or not brief, you can ask us all the questions that you need. I didn't check the chat so far because, well, I know Mosè is answering your questions. I will take a little bit of time so that if any of you want to ask something, you have time to type it. So, hi, I canceled my Partita IVA at the end of 2023. I currently live and work in Vietnam in 2024, using my tax number in Vietnam. Do I need to pay the 2024 advance payments? Okay, wait, let me read again. Partita IVA at the end of 2020. Well, no, in that case, no, you can choose not to pay them because since, from what I understand, wait, when you say you're using your tax number in Vietnam, you don't mean the Italian Partita IVA, right? Well, in any case, until I receive an answer, but basically no, because if you close your Partita IVA in 2023, and you went back to Vietnam, there is no reason for you to pay advance payments in 2024. So yeah, the answer is no. Yeah, and as Mosè is mentioning, in that case, there are no penalties because the penalties are only on the advance payments that were due. Since you moved back to your home country, in that case, the advances were not due. So it's only the correct choice.
Sabina, can you hear me?
Yes.
I would suggest if since there are some clients who are setting their questions, they're writing them in the in our chat, so they can just click on hand, mano, I guess, on the panel, just to raise their hand so that we know that we have some that there are some questions. Is it possible for them to make it?
Yes.
Okay,
if
so
you check the bar above, there is a tiny hand like this, and okay, I see that we've received one hand. Okay, perfect. So if you can, let's say, raise your hand, we know that you are typing, and we not, let's say, close the webinar yet. We will wait a little bit for you to type your questions. Okay. Oh, okay. I see that a lot of them are coming.
Sabina, before let me help you. I will reply by I will say the reply rather than typing. It takes less. So before replying, so for the ones who don't have questions, are they free to leave? So are you going to say anything else after replying to these questions, or is it done?
No, this is the final step. So we are done. Just wait for our email in the next couple of days, and you will receive, as I mentioned, the form and all the options to send us your documents. So this is everything.
Okay, so so thank you for thanks everybody for joining this session, especially for the ones who are leaving since they have no questions, or if you want to stay with us, just feel free to remain with here. I guess that
we have a question.
Yeah, so I will reply to the question. Sorry, I have a problem with my webcam, so let me try to fix it. Maybe. Well, no, it doesn't work. Okay, so the question of Oli Naz, if I have a contract only for 3 months during 2023, I need to present busta paga and contract. So if yes, this is what we need, even if the time is limited, so 3 months only. So you need to declare this income for sure. Consider that in this case, if it was a payroll income, so probably your employer already deducted all your taxes, so there is nothing else to pay. But also remember that if you were an Italian tax resident in 2023, you also have to report the income that you produced outside of Italy, and that has to be taxed in Italy as well. And the taxes that you paid in the other country is deductible. So in this case, provide also us with a quick recap of what were your movements, if you left Italy, when you left Italy, so that we know if you need to be considered an Italian tax resident or not. So even if we are talking about 3 months, it might be a little bit more complicated than usual. Just in the comment line and also in the email that you are sharing with us, just provide us with as much details as you can, so that we can address your question in the best way. I had
can I reply to Emma?
Yeah, of course.
No, because I had the same situation a few years back. So basically the question is, I had NASP in January and February, open Partita IVA in March. I'll assume I'll get a CU from this NASP. That is correct. You do get a CU. This is something that I would say is not generally known, and I forgot a few years back to declare it. So yes, you will receive it. If you have a cassetto fiscale, please go and check. Otherwise, you can give us access, and then we will find the CU of your NASP. Basically, every CU that you receive needs to be declared, because otherwise, it, let's say, ruins the final year balance, and then yes, it can affect your tax return.
Then we have another question. So I still have from Anamica. I still have my student bank account with Banca Popolare di Sondrio, and I receive my salary in that. I wanted to know if it is possible to pay the taxes with a student account, or would you suggest to open a new Italian bank account? Well, personally, I would, if you don't need a new Italian bank account, I would not apply for it. It is frustrating most of the times. So I would. Banca Popolare di Sondrio is a traditional bank, so the taxes can be paid via Banca Popolare di Sondrio for sure. I would just, if you can speak Italian, I would just call the bank and ask them if it is possible to pay your taxes with that bank account, or is more easier, get into your home banking and try to find out if there are some areas where you can pay imposte, so where you can pay taxes. If the answer is positive, we can charge your bank account. In any case, if we charge your bank account and if it does not work, it is not a dramatic solution. We will fix it afterwards. So if it is the only reason, do not open a bank account only for that, in my opinion. Thank you, Obi, for your comment. Quick question: how does the residence rental deduction work? Is it a percentage? No, it's not a percentage. Consider that. Sorry, give me only one second. I'm coming back in a second. Sorry. There is an automatic cleaner at home. The rental deduction. So consider that it is a flat deduction from 300 euros to 1,000 euros, more or less. So if you are if your age is between 20 and 30, and if you are the sole person who signed the contract of your apartment in Italy, then the deduction is roughly 1,000 euros. Then if you are if there are two people in the apartment and two people sign the contract, the deduction is 50%, so it's 500 euros. If you rented for half of the year, so you rented it in July, at the beginning of July, it will be half of 1,000 euros. So the calculation is based on how many people are living in the apartment and for how much time you were there. If your age is more than 30, then or at least it was more than 30 in 2023, then the deduction is much lower, and it is usually around 200-300 euros. But in any case, it is worth it the time to submit the contract and also to submit the registration by the Agenzia delle Entrate that is mandatory. Nina, I have a Partita IVA, but most of my 2023 income was from a Coco. Should I do anything differently? No, just provide us with the information also regarding the invoices that you cashed in 2023 out of your Partita IVA, and besides from the certificazione unica that you got from your employer. Certificazione unica states the income that you got and the taxes that were deducted from your employer. So we need both of them to file your tax return in the correct way. Vlad, IMSS part is paid in the same amount and in advance for next year. Yes, a little bit less. Consider that as you know, you have to pay two things if you are in the Regime Forfettario. So taxes and pension contributions, IMSS. Pension contributions are much higher than taxes. For taxes, the advance payment is 100% of the taxes due for 2023, unless there are reasons why you should not pay them. Like in the example before of our friend from Vietnam, he's in Vietnam, so he doesn't have to pay to make advance payments. For IMSS, assuming that you have to pay 100 euros for 2023, the advance payments is 80% of this amount. So 40 euros to be payable in June and 40 euros payable in November. So a little bit less, but the mechanism is exactly the same. There is still one hand, Sabina. I don't know how to see who are the people who raise their hands.
But I don't know if it's the questions we already answered, because I see two hands, one from Emma, one from Nina.
Okay, so I think that unless you have, you're welcome, Vlad. So unless you have any further questions, just, take down your hand. It's beautiful because also there are reactions. So if you are surprised, you can click on this, on reactions. Then if you are in love with some of the hosts, you can click on this one. So it's beautiful. Yeah, really beautiful. And so every time we are experiencing more functions. But a part of stupid things, I want to say that we are using technology. Of course, technology is around us everywhere. But every time you send an email to Expat, there is a guy or a girl replying to you. There is a human being. We will be maybe artificial intelligence in the future, but so far we are human beings. So be polite. Nina, thank you. Regarding possible deductions like abbonamento for transport, can I apply for this even if it is reimbursable by the company? Consider that not an easy question, but if you bought an abbonamento for the public transportation in Milan, it is deductible. If you have not only a forfettario income, but also if you have some other income, as Sabina said said before. If it is reimbursed by the company is probably taxing this reimbursement. So what I would say, I would deduct my the public transportation no matter what is doing the company. There is no connection of the two. So yes, you can deduct it. You're welcome, Emma. Then we have one. Shreya is writing an email. Hopefully it's not that long because she's typing. If I pay the advance amount projected for 2024, and I have to leave the country for some reason during the year, what happens to this money? That's a question. Yeah, I mean it's fair. It's fair. Consider that you need to you need to make a forecast. So consider that I think the participants are now, it is only between, no, there are still all the people inside. So if you plan to leave Italy in June, by the end of June, just tell us, okay, I want to pay the advance payments until June. So it means that instead of paying 100, as in the previous example, you pay 50. Instead of paying 80 of IMSS, you pay 40. And that is fair. If you, at the time when you file your tax return, you don't know, because you don't know where life will bring you in the following months, it is possible. It's up to you. So if you have money enough, just pay the advance payments, and then if it is if you didn't have to pay it in 2020, if you don't have to pay enough taxes for 2024, in 2025 we will apply for a refund. Consider that in Italy it takes at least 2 years to get a refund. So a part of my theoretical reply, if you have the doubt, do not pay the advance payments. Do not pay at all. So I don't want to be in a position of owing money from the Italian government, because they are slow as hell. So if you have any doubt, don't pay it. Then we will manage it in 2025. So I would prefer paying a little bit of penalties rather than waiting 3 years to get my money back. Nina, you're welcome, Shreya. So I travel to different places for work, so I have train subscription and several bus carnet. Again, thank you very much. So do bus carnet count? So I mean, if you are in the Regime Forfettario, you cannot deduct anything. Regime Forfettario means that your income is calculated a la forfait. So no matter if you have actual expenses, your income is a portion of your collections. So in this case, unfortunately, if you have real expenses, so you cannot deduct anything at all. Then what you can do during the year is to let us calculate, to make a couple of scenarios to say, with the Regime Forfettario, I pay X. If I had an ordinary tax regime where my income is calculated as collections less business-related expenses, what would I pay? In most of the cases, we find out that Regime Forfettario is much more favorable, even if I cannot deduct expenses. But if you feel safer in letting us making the calculation, just drop us an email to taxes@expert.it, and we will try to be more precise. I'm in Regime Forfettario, but with CoCoCo. Okay, Nina, it's clear. So with CoCoCo, you can deduct for sure your public transportation. Bus carnets do not count in this case, because it is not the local public transportations. In any case, if you have any further questions, just really feel free to add these documents to the file you're sharing with us. And since, as I said before, we are human beings, not machines, we will reply you during the calculation of your taxes. You're welcome, Nina. So, okay. Sabina, I think that we are done. So if you want to say goodbye for the very last time, I feel an urgency and need a coffee.
Okay, so guys, thank you for being with us today. I hope this webinar was useful for you and it makes you a little less worried about facing a tax return maybe for the first time. And we will speak soon. As I mentioned, in a couple of days, you will receive our emails. And in the meantime, we wish you a good day. Then talk to you soon and bye, guys.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.